Now we come to the process of gemmule formation. What is a gemmule? In certain metazoan animals, the process of asexual reproduction is carried on by certain peculiar asexual bodies. These asexual bodies are known as gemmules or statoblasts. They occur in freshwater sponges. Where do they occur? In freshwater sponges. Gemmules are found in freshwater sponges, and the statoblasts occur in the bryozoans. What happens in this process is the parents release specialized mass of cells, and these mass of cells then grow and develop into offspring. See, this is the spicule with its outer and the inner membrane. It gives rise to these mass of cells that together will give rise to new individuals. What is regeneration? It is a process by which the organisms develop or regenerate the lost or worn out body parts. The lost or the worn out body parts are regenerated in this process. As we can see in this image, this is a parent platform. It is divided into two parts, and each of these parts regenerates its lost part. The head regrows the tail, and the tail regrows the head. This process is known as the process of regeneration. It is said to be the best means of asexual reproduction in protozoan, coelentrates, and echinodermata. This is an adult hydra. After breaking or amputing, it is divided into two parts. Each of these parts grows its remaining counterpart, regenerates its remaining counterpart, and as a result, adult and mature hydra is obtained. Clear? Next is the process of spore formation. It includes zoospores, sporangiospores, chlamydospores, conidia, and oidea. So it will be zoospores, sporangiospores, chlamydospores, conidia, and oidea. This is a zoospore. It has cilia and flagella, so it can move. It is also enclosed in a cyst. This will rapidly form a cyst wall. It germinates to form the rhizoids and then enlarges to form the mature organism. Next is the process of sporulation or sporangiospores. This is a sporangium. Minute spores present inside the sporangium are the sporangiospores. These are detached from the parent sporangium and grow into new individuals. Next are the chlamydospores. They are contained within the fungal hyphae. They have a round and a thick cell wall. Can you see? This is the fungal hyphae and the round and the thick chlamydospores developing from the hyphae. Clear? Are you people understanding very clearly? These are the chlamydospores. The hyphae in this process breaks and its component parts behave like spores. These are the oidea. So, the breakdown of hyphae forms oidea. Conidia are the non-motile spores. They are formed by the constriction at the tip or the lateral side of the hyphal branches. See, this is the hyphae. The constriction or the lateral constriction of its branches form the conidia. Is it clear, everyone? A true spore always has a sporophyte. Fawns bear true spores and reproduce asexually by the process of sporogenesis. The plants that have only one kind of spores are homosporous, and those which have more than two types of spores are heterosporous. Right? Clear, everyone? See, this is the hyphae. It produces spores. These spores are released and they germinate into new organisms. Clear, everyone? Any doubts over here? Okay. Next we come to a very important topic of vegetative reproduction. What do we understand by vegetative reproduction? In this process, any part of the plant is capable to give rise to a new plant. The part of the plant may be a stem, root, leaf, or even buds. All these parts can give rise to individual organisms. Right? There are two methods of vegetative reproduction. The first one is the natural method. In this type, the portion of a plant gets detached from the mother plant. Right? One portion of the plant gets detached from the mother plant and develops into a new independent plant. It requires suitable environmental conditions for this purpose. The detached plant may be roots, stems, leaves, or flowers. This is vegetative propagation. Can we see? These are the adventitious buds developing in a potato tuber, in a sweet potato. A young plant is seen to have developed from these adventitious buds. Again, shoots arise from the reproductive organs of Dalbergia sisu. and the old tubers of dahlia grow into new plants from the new tubers. Right? The first method of natural vegetative propagation is through underground stems. These include suckers, rhizomes, corms, bulbs, and tubers. Now, is it difficult to remember all of them? Suckers, rhizomes, corms, bulbs, and tubers? मुश्किल है याद रखना? अच्छा, अभी मुझे बताओ, क्रिकेट कौन देखता है आप लोगों में से? सब लोग क्रिकेट देखते हैं? वेरी गुड. अच्छा, आप लोगों को पता है सौरव गांगुली कौन है? If at all you follow cricket? Yes, he is one of the most successful and famous cricketers. So, you can form a mnemonics to remember these in serial. It can be Saurav ran to catch ball. Okay? Sucker, rhizomes, tubers, corms and bulbs. Saurav ran to catch ball. Clear? We'll start with suckers. They arise from the base of the erect shoot and grow horizontally inside the soil. Can we see? These are the suckers. This is the main shoot. It develops suckers. These suckers then give rise to new plants. Right? Then we have the rhizomes. Rhizomes grow by perinating in unfavorable conditions. They produce new aerial shoots in the favorable conditions. Clear? See, these are the rhizomes. Right? Then we have the corms. Corms are nothing but highly condensed and specialized underground stems. These underground stems bear many buds on them. This is a corm, tunic, this is the tunic, the basal plate, the cortex, outer cortex and inner medulla. Then we have the bulb. This is an onion bulb. These produce new plants when they are grown in soil. This is the main bud and the side bud. The reduced stem and the roots are located at the bottom with fleshy leaves at the top. This is a longitudinal section of an onion bulb. Then we have the tubers. Tubers are modified underground stem branches. They have several buds. This is a potato tuber. These are the roots. This is the eye of the potato tuber. And young shoots can be seen germinating from the eyes of this potato tuber. There are also some other methods of natural vegetative propagation, like creeping stems that include runners, stolons, and offsets. What do they include? The runners, stolons, and offsets. Then we have vegetative propagation through aerial stems, leaves, bulbils, and turions. Now let us come to the artificial method of vegetative propagation. The capacity for regeneration in higher plants has been put to great use in the process of vegetative propagation. In this process, there is a simple cell which divides the qualities of the parent plant are reproduced inside the offspring in this process. Some useful plants like banana and certain varieties of oranges do not produce seeds, so they are grown by the process of artificial vegetative propagation. First is the process of cutting. What are cuttings? Cuttings are small pieces of stems. They have some leaves also attached to it. New plants grow from these stems. We can see all these are the cuttings. If a plant is cut over here, this entire region is grown and a new plant is obtained from it. Right? Is it clear? Next is the process of mount layering. What happens in this process is this is the main stem of the plant. One of its branches is bent and inserted inside the soil. It is then ringed over here. Okay? Adventitious roots develop over here. A new plant can be seen growing from this ringed process. Now what do we mean by ringing? The outer cambium is removed. Okay? Only the inner cambium remains over here. After removing the outer part of the bark, it is provided with essential nutrients, sunlight and water, and new plant is generated from it. Next is the process of air layering or rooting. What happens in this process is, again, in one part of the branch, the outer bark is removed. It is then covered by a grafting clay, and it is enclosed in a polythene bag. So after removing the bark, it is covered with grafting clay and it is enclosed in a polythene bag. Okay? As we can see, a new plant arises from this bark along with the adventitious roots over here. Can you see the adventitious roots? These are the adventitious roots that suck the nutrients and water and fulfill the requirement of this plant. Next is the process of grafting. Grafting is basically mounting one plant over another. Two types of plants are used in this: the stalk and the scion. Stalk is basically the base plant, right? It is the rooted part of the graft. And the scion is the plant which is grafted onto the stalk. So it is another plant with higher quality and variety of yield. Both these stalks and scions are given slanting cuts and then are joined with each other by means of a cellophane. Now, what are the advantages of this process? You can get mass production of plants by this process. No seed is required in vegetative propagation, as the new plant is produced from the parts of the parent plant. It can also be used to grow the plants which are difficult to grow. You know, seedless oranges and grapes are grown by the process of grafting. So this was about the process of asexual reproduction. In the next session, we will continue with the process of sexual reproduction. Study well till then. Thank you.